Hi guys, this video, this rule video, is about acting like you have some sense, which is a technical term, of course. Shut up. It's easier for some than for others. I have historically been known to be a fairly quiet person, so notwithstanding me just chattering away in all these videos, but I've generally been known to be fairly quiet, so it has been easier for me than perhaps for other people to be quiet about that which I'm going to talk to you about. It's been easier for me than for some other folks. You know, if you're a person who's effusive about, you know, what you have for breakfast, this rule is going to be harder for you. But I promise you, it's worth its weight in gold or platinum or whatever other precious metal you want to talk about. Keep your mouth shut about your losses, right? The short way to say it is say very little about your losses, say even less about your wins, or say nothing about your losses and say even less about your wins. Now, why is that? Well, first of all, you just don't want to be like that person. You don't want to be that blabbermouth who's perpetually talking about, you know, how awesome they are doing in the market and this and that and the other thing and so on and so forth. A, because nobody cares, really, nobody cares, and B, it puts pressure on you to continue doing that. You're actually setting yourself up for failure, right? Because you've gone out and you've said to everyone, hey, you know, I am a guru, I am the man, I know what's going on, or the woman as the case may be, I know what's going on and I pick nothing but winners and this and that and the other thing and so on and so forth. And you fall into this trap of wanting to maintain that facade that you always pick winners. Okay, first of all, ain't gonna happen, right? Nobody picks winners all the time. And the true mark of a trader is not so much how they win and how big they win. The true mark, or the essence of a trader, is how they lose, right? How they take those losing trades, how small those losing trades are relative to the winning trades. That's what determines whether or not you're truly a trader. Not your capacity to blabber about, you know, how well you've done in trading, you know, Goog in a market that's rising, right? Doesn't take that much. And the reason that I decided to do this video today is I had a person who came in. You guys can go back in my blog. It was either on my blog or on Facebook that I talked about Goog setting up to be a winner here. I don't know if I called it a good stock candidate at that time, but I was talking about it here. I think took off a little bit, came back, would have stopped out anything that was back here, and I think I did another video here right before it gapped, but I can't remember, and I didn't take the time to look. You guys feel free to go and look back during this time period, kind of October, look into through my blog post of October in 2013 and you'll get an answer. If it's not there, maybe it's in Facebook, or maybe I only did this one and said that you should just maintain a long bias, right? I just can't remember, but the way that I know I would have played this is, as long as these short-term trend spotter lines were above the longer term lines, this would have been a setup, right? It came back here like this, took out that high right there. I wouldn't have liked it, right? I mean, you're talking about 862 down to 842. That's a $20 stop, right? That's not fun. But this, like, even if I pull this back over here where you can't see that, right? I mean, you just got to take your chances here, right? You want to be long there. You probably would have wanted to be long here, or I would have. Maybe here and a stop out, but definitely here, right, where it came down here, test, and ended up in range wise being back up at near the top, right? And then it took out the high. You kind of got to play that if you're going to play Goog at all. But at any rate, this person came in and was talking about how he was talking about how he took my suggestion, how he was still long and making all this money, right? So, okay, first of all, yes, you did risk your capital, but the idea came from elsewhere, right? So you are to be celebrated for having taken the trade and done it appropriately with respect to risk and so on and so forth. But you shouldn't be out presenting it as you're so smart that you figured out that you should buy Goog, right? And that's not because I want the credit, but it's just like you're setting yourself up for failure, right? You're suggesting that you did something to the person who actually gave you the idea, right? So he was bragging about how he got long in here, right? And had just held it. He got the gap, of course. And then I did a follow-up video saying, right, that the even after the gap, right, it still looked good. You know, it would be hard to buy it up in here. And even a stock that wasn't $1,000 stock for me, once it's up here like this, it's hard to buy it, right? Because it's pretty far away from the beginning of the trend in my mind, right? It hasn't come back and tested or done anything. So this would be hard for me to buy. But like if you could find your way into the thing, in my mind, it had further to go, certainly, unless it came all the way back down here and closed that gap and went lower, right? So there was a lot of room to work with in terms of a stop, and in terms of looking for stalking the stock for a good candidate, a good entry, good low risk entry, right? So at any rate, he was going on and on and on about how he's still long most of it, and he's made quite a bit of money because he's playing it via options, right? But the point of all this is he shouldn't, nor should you spend a lot of time talking about your moves in the market, right? When you're amongst like when you're around other traders and you're talking just kind of generally about the market and so on and so forth, don't be the asshole that's sitting there talking about how you're so good and you're like this and the other thing and your trades are so good and so on and so forth. If you want to add value to another trader and add value to yourself, talk more about your losses, right? Talk about like why you exited a position. Pull up a chart and walk through charts with people, and you guys share ideas about like why you exited, why you thought about exiting, why you should have exited sooner. Those kinds of things. That's where you pick up value from each other as traders. And if you're talking to the uninitiated, to non-traders, just don't talk about it. Don't talk about your performance, up, down, or indifferent, right? Because you're only setting yourself up literally for a fall, right? Because if you're talking about your losses to them, they don't really understand that that's a valuable exercise. And if you're talking about your wins, then you're just an asshole, right? So don't do it. Okay. That's going to do it for this rule video and me being the chastiser, at least for this video. I hope it's helpful, and I certainly hope you follow that rule. Any questions about it, please reach out, ask the trader at theartofsimpletrading.com, and we'll talk to you soon.